Hey guys, thanks for dropping by my channel. But before we get into today's episode, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes. Thank you guys so much for your support and enjoy this episode. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for joining me on this episode of Flight of Fancy. I'm excited to introduce Tasin. She is building a legacy and is a part of an organization called Tendea Family. Tendea Family is a multifaceted social enterprise that is changing Baltimore City for the better. So Tasin, welcome to Flight of Fancy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, I'm so glad you said yes. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself as well as the organization?
Okay, well, Tendea Family is an organization that is dedicated to building up Baltimore City economically, mentally, physically, and morally. We have a multitude of events that we do weekly, one being a community cleanup that we do every Saturday from 9 to 11. We do a community workout every Monday from 6:30 to 8:30. We do like a community discussion called the Drawing Board on Sundays from 2 to 5. And I host a sisters dinner every Wednesday from 5:30 to 8. Also, like you was mentioning earlier, we have two social enterprises in Tendea, one being the Fruit Creamery, which we should have in brick and mortar in the next 9 months to a year. It's a 100% plant-based vegan smoothie business where we plan to economically advance our community by hiring young people to support their community and give them ways out other than crime or like the squeegee boys that we see now. Just give young people hope on what they can do to better their lives besides what they might see every day. So that's basically what we do in Tendea. I joined Tendea when I was in college, and it changed my life completely. I was looking for something to change the city, or not just the city, but just the Black community in general, because I was just bitter and devastated and sad and mad and angry and all the emotions that you feel when you look around and see the families falling apart, see the drugs, you see the abuse, you see the hopelessness, and it just seemed like nothing was being done or nothing could be done, or you don't know how, when, where, and what to do to fix these things. So I got involved, and I've always been very passionate to do something and make it a lifelong goal, a lifestyle to change the community that I belong to. I'm 26 years old. I graduated from Oregon 2 years ago, 2017, with a nutritional science degree. Currently, I work for the Baltimore City Health Department as a nutritional educator. But my goal is to build up Tendea and do whatever it takes to get Tendea where it needs to be, to get Black people where they need to be ultimately, so that we can change the conditions that we currently see today.
Wow, you all have like so much going on, and I just love to hear all the projects that you guys have, started to develop. And I just think it's so important, to be that change that you want to see, because I know you mentioned, you were looking for something and you were kind of at a low point, and you came across Tendea Family, which has helped you, find a spark, if you will. So I think that's pretty dope, because, a lot of times as young adults, sometimes we can just be kind of self-absorbed and not really in tune to a lot of things and what's going on. And so I just love the fact that your organization is on the way to building up Baltimore City and just making it that much better for those around and those that are in the community. And I know you mentioned that you said that you had joined the organization when you were in college. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So Tendea was founded around 2015, and that's when I joined. So I'm basically a founding member. I always consider myself just a member, though. And yeah, so it was started in 2015, right around the time when the Freddie Gray riots was happening. And that was a really intense emotional time for Baltimore. And I always correlate my experience and change and like these pivotal moments in this series in my life what was currently happening in Baltimore. It was like this love affair. Like it was like a moment where Baltimore was enraged and tired of what was going on and what they were putting up with the police brutality, with not being recognized and given the resources and opportunities, and just like giving up and lashing out and wanting to be seen and heard. And that's the point I was at, and all of that led to me joining Tendea and completely changing my life and where I was at and some of the things that I was doing personally that would not be beneficial to the community now. That led me up to this point to be better. So I had to basically rid myself of all the different habits and really dedicate my life in a meaningful way to join this organization of no smoking, no drinking, no casual sex. Really discipline myself to focus on what is really the issue in our community, what is really the root cause, what is really some of the things that individuals do that make up our community. And as I started my process and joining, I grew with the organization, and it grew to be something that completely changed my life and ultimately the lives of others that joined as well.
Right. No, I just want to thank you for opening up and, just sharing a little bit about, how and why you decided to get started within the organization. And I know you touched a little bit on the Freddie Gray riots. Now, I wasn't in Maryland at the time, but I do remember, hearing about it and seeing it, of course, like everywhere. And, it just, after a certain point, it's just, people hit their breaking point. And, when they see and they feel that injustice, especially, for you guys, because it just hits so close to home, like you have, I shouldn't say you have no other choice, but you have that feeling of that rage and just disappointment. And you just want to be able to, speak out and, just tackle those type of issues. And, the one other thing that you touched on was that you guys are really looking to see what the issue is, like what the real issue is within you guys' community. But not only that, you guys are working and building a platform to where your members are, building themselves so they can have that best face forward, so then that way they can be that voice and be that change. And the approach that has been set is a foundation for y'all's continual growth. And I just wanted to ask if someone was looking to join, what attributes are you guys looking for to further the mission of Tendea Family?
So anybody that's looking to join the organization has to be a Black person that really want to dedicate their life to changing the Black community, because it takes a certain amount of energy, time, money, commitment, that's going to prepare somebody to deal with a complete change of lifestyle. When you join the organization, there is no smoking, there is no drinking, there is no casual sex or having sex with people you're not in a relationship with. There's a lot of things and protocols in place for us to live a more healthier lifestyle so that we won't participate in the things that's causing all the traumas that we see in our community, all the void feeling, I guess I would say, that we see in our community. So it got to be somebody that really cares enough to sacrifice a lot of things that maybe they are enjoying at the moment, but willing to give up for the greater good of the community. Anybody that comes out, I would say that will want to be a part of today, I would say to start coming out to the events, to really get a feel of who we are and what we are about, to see if this is something that you actually agree with and want to get into, because Tendea is it's a lot more complicated than what is seen on the surface. So I would tell anybody to just come out and come to the events and ask questions and really just can consistently come out, and then you will be put through a process that engages you to see if you really want to be a part of Tendea. Tendea's goals are to eventually get better schools, are to eventually get way more businesses than we have, so that we can build up the city that we live in. So it's like a long term. We have long term goals. So it got to be somebody that's willing to be in it for the long haul. Like I said, willing to sacrifice time, energy, money. It's a lot of sweat, blood, and tears that's being built into this thing because it's a grassroots organization. So it's something that's going to have to you're going to have to be a person that's willing to work hard to see the fruits of your labor. But you really have to be in it for the love and not in it for just the glory or the fame or just to be around people that you may get recognition from. It got to be somebody that really is in it for the betterment of their community.
Absolutely. Now, I know you just touched on a lot of different bullet points, for the type of person that you're looking for. And you made the comment that, you guys are grassroots and you guys are really looking for people to really get their hands dirty and be a part of the mission and not just for the end result or the glory, I should say. But do you guys have different protocols or different steps put in place for those individuals who may not follow, everything to a T just starting out? Because, changing your lifestyle is a process. So I know a lot of people, get after it for a while, but then, might slip a little bit. So just kind of want to know like how you guys tackle those instances when those arise.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We all have things that we struggle with. We all have things that even we may have been addicted to at one point in time. I know a lot of times when people come out to our community cleanups, and as we're cleaning up, we're sweeping up so many cigarette butts. We picking up so many alcohol bottles. And you see the people that's out there early in the morning. This is 9 a.m. and going to the liquor store. So you see things like that, and all the things that you're sweeping up, you see what's being the causes of some of the things that's contributing to the downfall of our community. So when you be around us, we giving you reasons why it's important to not um, indulge in these things. So if somebody is displaying a sign of it's really hard for them to stop these things, it's a weaning off process, and we're just looking for somebody that's willing to make that change. And change is not overnight,
Right.
but we see that this person is willing, and it's going to be a process where eventually, they won't do this again. If there's a person that don't get it or don't see why they need to, then it's just a time to educate. But I think it's more so just the seeing why, being out there and seeing why it's a necessity. And most people automatically know that, okay, I understand. And just working with them to being around them, and when they have like a moment where they feel like they may need to do something, or just being there with them to know that like this is not you don't have to do this. There's other things that you can find enjoyable and fulfilling besides some of the vices that we have. So it's definitely a process that we work with people. We don't change overnight, but we just look for people that's willing to make the change.
Absolutely. No, I think that's really key because, like you said, change does not happen overnight. So there's definitely a process within that. And then through that, it's really good to see the growth of, that individual or, even within you guys' organization as well. So I think that's really key, to have those steps in place just to help them, better themselves. So I think that's pretty dope.
Right.
So inspiration. So who or what do you like to gravitate towards when seeking inspiration for any projects that you're involved with, or just keeping you motivated within, daily life or within Tendea family?
Well, Elijah Miles was the founding member of the organization. I met him when I was at Morgan State University. He was my one of my biggest inspirations because he taught me so much about history and who I was and who we were as a people. And he wanted to have an organization so that we can begin to rebuild what was lost. So starting with ourselves. And so that's why the organization was created to get people together in the physical way, and then we can reach larger people, so in order to unify the Black community, it has to start with a couple people, and then it grows from there. And so we have events, and then we had people that will come to get recruited and things like that. But it starts with just trying to better yourself, and then you can reach others to better them. And so when I first met Elijah, he was, always reading a book, always trying to get people to be better and do better. And we would have constant talks and meetings about different things. And one of the books that he gave me when I was in college was Asada Shakur, Angela Davis, and these are other people that was a part of organizations that were led by, men that had the same inspiration, Huey Newton and things like that. So, and even before I joined the organization, one of my biggest inspirations was Sister Soldier, and she was a woman that really had an emphasis on organizing people and getting Black people to do for themselves and build for themselves and create for themselves. And so I knew organizing was the key to success for Black people, because we were focusing and divvying up ourselves in so many other people's affairs that we're not focusing ourselves. So Elijah was a big inspiration, for one, when he even started the organization, because most people at such a young age, he was 21 and starting the organization, that was like, wow, like, you're really serious about this. And he was dedicated, and he never looked back. He kept going forward. And like I said, we all grew from continuously growing the organization. So another one of my biggest inspirations were even the people that were, wives of people that was in organizations like, Dr. Betty Shabazz, and you have Coretta Scott King, and so it's like women who were a part of organizations, and like the SNCC with Martin Luther King Jr., and you have people like Ella Baker that helped start SNCC, and you have Fannie Lou Hamer that was a part of SNCC, and all these women that knew that organizing and getting Black people to a better place started with bringing them together, having a common goal, and executing it. So a lot of this research and understanding history really got me rooted into getting my purpose and my mission in an organization, and starting from there, and knowing that my purpose is rooted in that.
Yeah, no, I mean, just as you were talking, it just recalled a conversation I had with my coworkers, and I know you had touched on, a lot of different goals that Tendea family has, and one of them being, better education and better schools for those in the community. And just as you were speaking about all these influential leaders and everything like that, I can't recall the person that we were talking about, but she said something to the effect of, yeah, I didn't even know anything about this person until I'd watched this documentary. And before I could catch myself, my words just flew. And I was just like, what school did you go to? Because I just feel like, like, what are we being taught in school? And I just feel like we need to keep these conversations alive, because there are so many influential leaders that have paved the way for us, and, that have afforded us some of these liberties that we do have. So we have to continue to educate ourselves, beyond the scope of what is or isn't being taught within our educational systems. Before we continue the conversation about education, I'd like to introduce Elijah Miles, founder of Tendea Family. For the remainder of this podcast, you will hear from both Tasin and Elijah, so listen as he weighs in on the educational debate.
When it comes to education, it's a couple of things that we have to be completely aware of who we are as a people. And sometimes the schools are not teaching us. And I was talking to some of my students about this. Sometimes we go to schools that are not teaching us, but it's also incumbent upon us to teach ourselves. You had Frederick Douglass, who sought out education himself after coming out of slavery. You had people like Booker T. Washington and W.B. Du Bois, who you read their books today, they're really complicated for the average reader, using extremely big words. So I think it's a legacy of education when it comes to Black people, and I think whether we learn it in school or don't learn it in school, it's incumbent upon us to teach our own children who we are as a people. And if the schools are not doing that for us, then one of the things Tendea wants to do, if the schools are not doing that for us currently, we have to build our own schools, because every people group not only has a purpose, has collective goals that they're going for as a people, but that people group cannot have unity if people don't conceptualize themselves as the same. And the only way you can conceptualize yourself as the same, from brothers to sisters, is by having a common and shared history. But if we don't have a common and shared history, or we're unaware of the common and shared history, then we could walk around thinking we're not connected at all. And if we walk around thinking we're not connected at all, it's hard for us to make progress as a people. So I think it's real important that we be about the business of building schools. Last century was about civil rights and getting rights. We have rights now.
Right.
Now we have to use our rights to be able to build stuff for our people, because that's what free people do. They build their own institutions. And since we fought so long to be able to do this, I think we should take full advantage of it and build our own businesses, build our own schools, build our own communities. And I think that's the stage we are now.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we were definitely touching on that a little bit earlier too, that, I was just giving kudos to you guys for going out and, just changing the city that you do live in, because it's so easy to just kind of, dwell in what's not being done. But at the end of the day, like, what can I do or what can you do to help move the community or a certain aspect into the right direction. And we were definitely talking about change, because I touched on, just with your members and stuff like that. And of course, it's like Tasin said, is something that doesn't happen overnight. But, with the persistence and dedication, you can definitely start to see changes and different moves within the community. So again, thank you guys for going after that and putting something positive in the community for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what advice do you guys have, with anyone? Well, I'll throw out a different way. So what advice, one, do you have for someone who is looking to create their own business, or someone who's already started? But more importantly, what advice would you give, your current members of your organization, as well as anyone that would be looking to join your organization?
Tasin, you want to go first?
One of the things I would say for advice for somebody that wants to start a business is to really see what the community needs, because this is the thing that's going to really make and help the business flourish, and it really shows your intentions and how you really genuinely want to help the community and how it could possibly help the community in a real way. Sometimes we may get into business for selfish reasons or things that we may see that pleases us and what we want to do, and that's cool because it may give us a couple of dollars, but it doesn't really advance us in a real tangible way. So I would say for anybody that wants to open up a business or a social enterprise, I would really say to assess the real needs of the community and really invest your time and energy in that, because the more people you bring up with you and helping you, then it can better help in a bigger way generations to come. So, and that's one of the biggest things you want to think about when you open up a business, is the impact, is how long is this going to last, and who is it going to go to, and who is it for. And you don't want to get into anything for self-motivating purposes, because that never really lasts as long and as you may think it will, and it may end with just you. Mm-hmm. And I think that things that helps communities and help other people outside of you have a tendency to build legacies and things like that, and people will want to help you, will want to see it grow and want to see it multiply. And I think it comes from a more genuine space when you are able to do it for other people, even if it don't benefit yourself. So I would say that for that question.
I would say, as far as business, I would first say find somebody that's doing what you want to do. Find somebody that's basically already successful in your field that you're going for. Because when it comes to business, you need mentors. You need somebody to guide you down the path. If you could reach a person that's like that, then I think you should find that person and be mentored by that person. But I also think that don't try to do business by yourself. I think you should find people, recruit people that'll be motivated to do your business with you, because I think that'll be more beneficial in the long run. I think too often we try to do business by ourselves and we end up competing against our brothers and sisters to get the same dollar, when we just united and group together with people that also have that same passion, then we'd be much more successful in the long run. There was another question in there, but we didn't hit on it yet.
It's all good. No, I agree with you guys, on both ends of that, because a lot of times, of course, you might start a business. Why? Because of money. So let's not really throw that off to the side, right? But truly, if you have a passion for what you want to do, it'll, the money will come. So, right. But yeah, I definitely agree with you guys on that whole aspect, because, for me, I do have a lot of different ventures that I'm working on right now myself. And I just recently enlisted the help of a few more hands with a nonprofit that I'm working on. And so it was really great to just not only have, the ideas of myself and my co-founder, but, for the other ladies that we brought on, so they may have other ideas or, different ways of doing things. So it's always good to reach out and see, if somebody could be of assistance for you. Because I had a conversation with somebody and they were just like, more times than not, if you just reach out to somebody, they are probably more willing to say yes than no. So, you just gotta get out your comfort zone a little bit too, and just, enlist that help. So you're not always, thinking someone's out to get you or whatever.
That's
so,
right.
Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There was a second question about joining Tendea.
Yeah. So, what advice would you have for your current members or anyone that's looking to join Tendea family?
I would say if you're interested in getting involved in work to change Baltimore City, getting involved in work to change the Black community, I would say just come out to events. The best thing you could do is just start coming out. So we do community cleanups, we do workouts, we do Black history study groups and book clubs. Just come out and you'll be able to see on the ground doing the work whether Tendea is really something for you. And I would say that if you're going to start coming through and trying to be a part of that process, challenge yourself. Because Tendea for us is a lifestyle, it's a lifelong commitment, and you have to be real with yourself and see if you're really willing to make that commitment. Because for us, we are willing to sacrifice our time, our money, our energy, the rest of our life to be an asset in changing the Black community. Mm-hmm. And if you're willing to do that, then you come along with us. But if you're a type person where this is going to be a side thing, this is going to be the thing you do on the weekends, this may not be the thing for you. Because for us, our whole motto is in order to see a change in this community, you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We all in. So I would say, man, just come and start getting involved and see if it's something for you. And if it's not something for you, you can still keep coming and being involved. But when you join, that's a whole nother level of commitment.
You said that you guys host different events, workouts, and, you have book clubs and things like that. So that kind of brings me to one of my other questions. So I know Tasin said that Elijah, you're always like reading books and things like that too. So, what books or podcasts are you guys currently into, or what do you guys go to for certain resources to help you guys personally and professionally?
So, well, Ty, if you want to go first, you can go first.
One of the things that we always have to constantly read and be updated on is our history. So a lot of the books and information that we get our information from comes from history. So it may be a person in history. Like I said, I read a lot of Sister Soldier. I watch a lot of Sister Soldier. Or it may even be a person like Amy Garvey. I read a lot of autobiographies to get a feel of a real life story of, so I'm trying to do something in a field where somebody previously have done something. So like I said, like if you want to read a book about an organization, maybe you want to read a book about Asada Shakur, Angela Davis, Ella Baker, Fannie Lou Hamer, and an autobiography to kind of get you a feel of what was the process like, how did they feel, what happened, what were the ups and downs. If you want to read a book about more so ideology, a lot of good books on how we need to be and how we need to even heal ourselves. I would say Amos Wilson. He's a Black psychologist that really gets to the root of some of the issues and problems and traumas that we face in the Black community. So one of the books that we was reading in our study class was an Amos Wilson book. And Carter G. Woodson, Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery. That's another book that is really good in understanding where we are as a people and what we do. So I would say that if you want to see where you're at and if you want to see where you need to go, read an autobiography of a Black person you may have looked up to, or read a book by a Black psychologist to really see where we are and how did we come to this point. So that's a lot of the books and a lot of the some of the things I like to read and some of the things I go back to really give it a frame of reference of like how the times were then and similarly how the times are now.
The book she referred to, one of the books she referred to, you put two authors together. So one of the books she referred to, Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery, was Naeem Akbar and Carter G. Woodson. We also, the reason she mixed them up is because we read a book by Carter G. Woodson also. It was Miseducation of the Negro, which is a really, really good book if you want to understand the issues in the educational system. But the books I'm reading right now, I'm reading a book called The Wolf of Other Sons about the Great Migration, about how during segregation, Black people came from the South and ran from the South and came to the North because of all the lynchings and violence that didn't do it down South. So that's a book I'm reading right now. But most of the books I read are either psychology from Black psychologists, history books like Tasin said, or self-improvement books. But really, the key point, and this, I want to add on to Tasin, why the history part is so important, because it's important for us to stay grounded in our reality. So if let's say I start delving deep into, I don't know, white self-improvement books, just get real deep into white self-improvement books, I'll approach the world in a way that's inaccurate for my place in time or our place in time as a people. And so I'll start being focused on creating this Fortune 500 company for myself, or start being focused on just, law of attraction, attracting the right things to me and being positive and all those types of things. And I won't be really grounded in my reality, my time and place. And so sometimes we have goals, and we have aspirations that may be out of touch. I liken it to this, like if you were in slavery, when we were in slavery, it was nobody that was like, my purpose in life, I'm going to be a singer. Because you understood that we in a certain time and place that's not conducive for Black singers. And so we read history and read current events and stay up to date on current events because we want to stay grounded in the reality right now. Because in the reality right now, that's where we derive our purpose in life. Because we want to be an asset to the furthering the Black community. So we read a lot of history. But books I would recommend, Autobiography of Malcolm X, which is a classic. The Miseducation of the Negro, which is a classic, Carter G. Woodson. Kemet and the African Worldview, African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality, Chenkat Tendea. It's a bunch of good books. Currently, like current day scholars, The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, which is really good and powerful. As far as novels.
No disrespect, Sister Soldier.
Yep. As far as novels, Toni Morrison, who just passed away. But we just gotta read. We gotta read. So I do. We have a whole bunch of books, but I do push on my students and I push on everybody around me to read, and that's why we do the book club on Sundays, just to encourage people to read and learn.
Absolutely.
Oh, one more thing, as far as you said, podcasts. We listen to many podcasts, but we watch a lot of videos.
Okay.
And again, the videos and lectures that we watch are focused mostly on like Black history. So we watch a lot of lectures from people that have, like Malcolm X. Like, it's kind of like Black History Month all the time for us. So
right.
We watch a lot of things from Malcolm X. We done watch everything on Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, Stokely Carmichael, Asada Shakur interviews, Angela Davis, Black Panthers. We watch all of their videos. We watch the current day people that are doing work in the community now. So Dr. Joy DeGray, who wrote Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. So we watch speeches and lectures from anybody that we can get our hands on that's focused on changing the problems, finding solutions to the problems today, which is starting to be less and less people talking about that. But whatever we can get our hands on, we watch and listen to.
Yeah, no. First, I just want to say I'm definitely going to have to rewind this episode so I can write down all these different books that you guys have been dropping throughout this episode. But I just want to say also, I just love the way that you guys are educating the community. I think it's important that we continue to understand and grow and learn about our culture. Because we obviously know, the history and what slavery did to us and everything else that, from our protests to, the lynchings and, sit-ins and all that kind of stuff. But it's like we don't necessarily talk about it as much. And it's kind of like we suppress those memories and we don't highlight those efforts and like the positive things that kind of came out of that. I know it sounds kind of crazy because it was a lot of negativity and a lot of things, but through it all, there were, powerful individuals who stepped up to become those leaders who wanted to see that change. So with some of that negative behaviors that were projected onto us, there were some positives, of course, that came out of it. And I like what you said about, reading certain books that fit, where you are today, because of course there are like a million, business books that, people could flock to, but a lot of times they are, written or for our white counterparts, right? So, even though those may be very good tips or have some good advice, but we still also have to navigate, what it's like to be Black and be in business as well, because different things as far as loans or grants and stuff like that might be a little bit harder or difficult just because of the way we look. You know what I'm saying? So I like that aspect and just the whole education piece, honestly. I just like that.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to say something also is that this the importance of history is that we was talking about loans and grants and different things like that. When you're looking at history, you can even approach the problems of today differently. So in African societies, they had susus. And so that's basically how Tendea currently does all this like initiative. It's based off of susus. And susus were basically, you get a group of people together and we all putting money into this pot. So let's say you work a job, you get You got $500 of disposable income. I got $1,000 disposable income. We putting this money in a pot, and then every month it goes to a different person to give them a chance to do what they would like to do. So for us, what we do is like, it's kind of like internal crowdfunding. But that's all throughout African societies. But our way is not the way of individualism. Of me as an individual, I go to this loan and try to get this loan and get this high interest rate. Like, our way is the community helps to fund our projects, because ultimately it will benefit the community. So that's how we've been doing things, but we wouldn't even have a solution like that without being aware of history. And so even the way we go at economics, go at business, is from a whole another paradigm. Because the way that the business field is set up right now is set up so that the people that are winning currently can win more in the future. So for us, in order to win in that field, we have to go at it another way, go at it with another strategy. And so we derived that strategy from history, and pulled it out of history. And so that's why we even go at our businesses are collectively owned by the people in the organization, so that everybody's putting in, everybody controlling it, so we can ultimately build that thing up.
I feel you. I like it. But kind of just talking about, those certain avenues that we have to navigate.
Right.
But since creating Tendea Family, what are some struggles and what are some successes that you guys have faced?
Some of the struggles that I think we have faced is definitely just getting people to want to sacrifice now. We are all in our early 20s right now, and I think in this age group, a lot of people our age still want to party, still want to have fun, and not really take the situation as seriously as they should. So I think that's where a lot of the struggle comes, just getting people to really be like, this is important, this is what you should dedicate your life to for real. But some of the successes is just that when you do get those people and they are changing, and you see the growth and you see the success of Tendea, and you see some of the things that was just on paper manifesting, when you see that the Fruit Creamy was just a thought and now it's actually blossoming, when you see people coming out to the community cleanups and you are engaging with the residents and now they know you personally and now they're waiting to see you each week, when you have the sisters dinner and people are excited and growing and asking more questions and bringing people out, that's when you know that, okay, this is giving me the motivation to keep going because it's actually needed in our community.
One of the failures that I wouldn't say that we had is just, it's just a part of the time period we're living in, is going up against the hopelessness that's in our community. People really don't think our situation can change. And that's also connected to history, but people don't think our situation can change. You talk to people and they like, it's going to always be this way because it's always been this way, which is not true. But they when we come and say we're going to do a community cleanup, we're going to do this book club, it's like, it's a hopelessness that's among us that like, that ain't going to change anything. That ain't going to do anything. Nothing will do anything. We're just cursed. It's just going to be like this. The hood is like this. The best thing you can do is just get out the hood. The best thing you can do is just get out of Baltimore. It ain't changing no time soon. So really coming up against that hopelessness in our people has been hard, because if they don't believe nothing can change, then it's hard to recruit them to help them and hard to recruit them so that they can help us to change the situation, because you don't believe it. So that's been one of the things. But one of the big successes I would say is that by doing our programs, by doing our initiatives, it has been people that lives have been changed by the organization. People that were using drugs that are not using drugs. People that were having casual sex with whoever, whenever, that are not doing that. People that were selling drugs that are not selling drugs. So for me, that's one of the biggest successes, that our program of reform and our programs of like just changing the community work. and I've seen it work with different people. So that's one of the biggest successes. And I would say that through our consistency, even people that don't believe stuff can change, at least will have respect for us for trying to change it. Because at first it was kind of like, oh, ain't nothing going to change. These some fly-by-night people. Y'all going to start doing this for a little bit and y'all going to quit because you're going to realize it's hopeless. But by our consistency, the community starts to have respect for us. The city starts to have respect for us and start saying, oh, y'all serious. We've been at our community cleanup every Saturday for the last 2 years. We're the most consistent community cleanup in Baltimore City. And we don't get a lot of media attention for it, but the community knows. Right. And the community respects us for it because Black people ultimately respect somebody that's trying to live out what they say. We're trying to walk the walk. And so that's really been some of the biggest successes. Our reputation, our rapport with the people, and our transformation of the people that we have been able to touch.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because, just being able to keep your word, like you said, you guys have been at it for 2 years with the cleanup and everything, and that's huge. You know what I'm saying? Just being able to stay consistent. And I do feel like that is a huge part of anything that you go into. And then also that mindset, if you could just reach other people, the more people that you touch, like the more positivity they can spit out to other people. So it's kind of just like, once you guys touch certain people, they can put out what you guys are putting out too to, help that and just build that for your community for sure. So, that mind, it is very powerful, because I know there's certain times, even for me, I'm just like, oh gosh, I can't see like the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, but it's just like, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep working at it. So, consistency for sure. And just being able to, keep your presence. And it'll definitely come for sure. I agree. So you guys are pretty busy. You guys have a lot of things going on. So how do you guys like to relax or reset your mind to, stay clear and stay focused on your journey?
We do a whole lot of fasting. We actually just came off of a fast, and that sort of resets our mind, body, spirit to just get back on a new wavelength, get back in it. We do a lot of fasting. We do also, like I said, not just a community workout, but we just work out in general. And we just try to eat clean, eat better. But, some of the things that you just got to do also when you want to reset is just socialize, get together, hang out, go somewhere, watch a movie.
That's right.
Because socializing is as important as doing the work as well. Because one of the things that you want to do when you are building a community is treat it like a community. Go out, have fun, talk to one another, vent stuff out, communicate, have date nights with your boyfriend or girlfriend, different things like that makes life worth living.
Absolutely.
But as you're making life worth living, still know that the work is to make life worth living. So that's what we try to do,
Yeah, I would say prayer a whole lot. For me, prayer clears my mind. It centers me. It gets me focused. It helps me to keep faith and to stay positive and all of that. So prayer, I think she touched on everything I would say. But prayer, I think you can't say everything without saying prayer.
Yeah.
I definitely lit up a little bit because when you said fasting, I'm currently in that fasting mode right now. So I know exactly what you guys are talking about and what you're going through.
I actually missed a big one. Like one of the biggest things that actually would help a lot of people is cleaning. Like just organizing yourself, cleaning your room, cleaning your car. That is a must. When I do the sisters dinner and we talk and I talk to the girls, that's one of the things that you have to keep up, and they should be embedded in your character, because if not, You're going to feel unorganized. You're going to feel disheveled. You're going to get off guard. Things are going to be off track. And you don't know that it's probably because when you come home, you feel stressed just because of the mess that's around you. So I think one of the things that's very important to having a healthy psychology is having a healthy space.
Yes.
So you should really start with cleaning your room, cleaning your bathroom, cleaning out your kitchen, cleaning out your car, and then consistently maintaining that cleanliness. And then everything, I think, will start being more organized on what you want to do in your life, just from disciplining yourself to just stay clean. So what I try to do is, one of the things that I really try to do is, before I walk out the house, is really make my bed. And that's a funny thing, because your mom will always be like, don't go out the house without making your bed.
Yep.
But now I see the importance of it, because when you come home, it's like, okay, at least your bed is made. It don't look junky. It don't look overwhelming, because you already went out during the day and you picked up more problems than the day before because of work, because of maybe friendships, school, that when you come home, you don't want that added problem. Yes. And one of the duties, I think, of being an adult, being a woman, is making and beautifying the home. And keeping that up is key, because your house is supposed to be a sanctuary. Your house is supposed to be somewhere where you can pray and get all of that guidance that you need. And without it, who wants to pray in a junky room? Who wants to fast when you got all this stuff making you want to eat sweets and junk and cake and everything and just binge all the time? So that's one of the things I would say.
I agree 100% on that. Like, for real though, when you said that, it did like put something in my mind, because like the other day I just cleaned out my car and I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. Yeah, I definitely try to keep, stuff in order, stuff organized, even at work, like just keeping my office like, nice and clean, and just trying to clean, every so often and all that. So it definitely does help with your mental and keeps you open and focused a little bit more. So I can definitely agree with that one.
Yeah. And sometimes you just need to like throw some things out. Like,
yes.
Like sometimes what you do, like when you do like a spring cleaning, you may just want to just give some things to the Salvation Army, give some things to your girlfriend to kind of renew, what you've been doing before.
Definitely. No, you hit it right on the head for sure. I agree. So what do you guys see or like what's to come next in your journey? Like, what do you see, Tendea family building upon or just putting out there?
We're saving to buy our first property, to buy our first commercial property. So we didn't want to go into like brick and mortar business without owning it, because one of our primary things is ownership. Black people need to, own and not rent. And so we about like, I would say a quarter or probably 1/3 of the way there to owning our property. We just saving our money and different things like that. So hopefully in the next 9 months, we'll have the fruit creamery in a brick and mortar neighborhood selling smoothies, not just at different events, but selling smoothies, brick and mortar place in Baltimore City. For us, that's like I would say our number one focus right now.
The fruit creamery is one of the things that will fund any other project that we have going on. But what all of our energy is going towards is just getting the fruit creamery, so that if we do decide to have a school, we have funding already in place. If we do decide to have another business, the money from the fruit creamery goes to that. So everything will fund itself after we get the fruit creamery.
I like that. And when you guys open that, I will definitely be there.
Yay! Appreciate it.
Yes, maybe we'll do like a follow-up, from this episode, right? That'd be dope. So then we'd actually have like video and all that good stuff. So yes, I will definitely be there. But before we get out of here, what or where can my listeners find you guys? Like, what social media avenues, and then like how can they get in contact with you guys to like come to these events that you guys are putting on?
Most of where we at is on Instagram, so you can follow us at Tendea Family, Tendea Family. You can follow our individual pages. I'm at Tendea _ Ta, TENDEA _ And Elijah, you want to give them yours?
Again, our Instagram page is Tendea Family, TENDEA Family, all one word. And my Instagram page is Tendea _ Lodge. This TENDEA _ LIJ.
Yeah, so if you just type in Tendea, you can just find all
of it.
Okay.
all of our pages. We have a website, tendeafamily.com, where you can purchase any of our paraphernalia, our clothing. We have a clothing brand that we do as well. And you can see the events that we do also there. And you can leave comments. You can message us from there. But usually DMs work perfectly fine on Instagram.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being a part of Flight of Fancy tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, guys, that concludes another episode of Flight of Fancy. But until the next one, keep creating. Bye.